What up, everybody? Maui is on fire, and we're not sure how it happened. There's a lot of speculation. We're going to talk about it. Trump is indicted. We're going to go through a little bit of the information surrounding that. Home Depot politics come home to roost. You guys are going to see some crazy stuff at Home Depot. And Oliver Anthony is taking the nation by storm by coming up with a song all of us feel like came from our own hearts. Shout out to Oliver Anthony. We're going to talk about it. Stick around.
So we were talking about this earlier. What is very, very, very fishy about this particular group of indictments from Georgia. We were talking about this earlier, that the grand jury hadn't even finished going through everything and saying, okay, yes, I'd like that charge. Okay, yeah, it sounds like he should be charged for that, and blah, blah, blah. The indictment was published on the Georgia, whatever department.gov, whatever it is, judicial, whatever. That all these indictments came out and the jury had not finished convening. It even had a judge and a case number assigned to it.
Okay, so that wasn't a fake. That's a real thing?
Nope. All the indictments that leaked just happened to be the same ones that
case numbers and everything?
The case number was done. Yep. Judge was assigned.
No, I mean, was the case number the same as the one that came out?
I don't know, but I think so.
Because that would be the difference between, you know what I'm saying, whether... You get what I mean. I
don't know, but the fact that all the charges are the same is pretty damning.
Yeah, just this shit is just going so far, man.
And did you hear about them predicting the prediction? For a long time, they were predicting that the indictments or the charges and the grand jury would finish doing what they were doing with these charges by the end of August. That was the measurement. And look how fast they got it done, because what happened is somebody accidentally pressed publish on that. They already had their mind made up. They got too excited and pressed the button too soon. That's what I think. They pressed the button too soon. They already had it ready. They already knew we're going to charge all these things. The grand jury, you're going to say yes to all this. But now they had to squeeze their timeline to just like a day. And wouldn't you know it, the grand jury got finished in a day.
Wow.
When they were predicting end of August.
Right.
Interesting.
But
he can already appeal. Because of that.
I mean, if anybody's watching, which a lot of people have been saying this online already, that it's just like a sham. They're looking online. They're like, okay, come on. At this point, we
talked about that earlier.
You know, it's just everybody knows it, man. Everybody knows it, and we're just like, oh, okay, this is the way it works. But do you know who doesn't know it? The people on the left. The people on the left are like, well, thank God he's about to get locked up. You're like, bro, you don't understand the seriousness of what you're saying. You think Trump is slimier than all of the politicians in the last 60 years who none of them got for real charged for anything ever.
Right.
How do you come to that conclusion, bro? You agree that government is generally bad before Trump ever showed up, right? You were mad at government before Trump ever was a name. Yeah, I disliked him. That's why we wanted Barack Obama, for change, because something was wrong with the system. And then everybody was mad at Obama because he didn't provide enough change. So you can't act like you were content with the system. You know what I mean? And then now you're saying that Donald Trump comes in and he was worse than all of the system. That doesn't even make sense.
No.
It doesn't even make sense. There's no way you could hate a person this much unless they wanted you to hate this person this much. You know, you can't keep it up. It's the same thing like if you tell people and kids like that are really hyped up on something, and then you take them out of an environment where they're getting fed that every day and they just chill out, man. Kids just chill out. Go out to a farm for a month. By the end of the month, whatever they were like whatevered about and their weird little toxic cycles and habitual patterns of like being told stuff at school or something like that, it like goes away and they become like a normal person again. That's the same way it is with Americans. If there was no news right now, if there was no media at all, if there was nothing, we would be completely normal, walking around, just being like, dun, 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 dun. Like, oh, hey, did you see that lawnmower? You know what I'm saying? Like, we'd be left to flip alone. The only way that this much ampage is like inside of our like is because it's manufactured.
I agree.
By the powers that be to make us like this.
The media working right along with them.
Right. Well, that's what I mean. Whoever owns the media like owns the world, basically.
Have you ever seen those on the street interviews where they'll go to where there's like a liberal protest or whatever, counter protest, and they'll politely come up and then be like, oh, okay, Donald Trump, he's a racist, he did this, blah, blah, blah. They'll be like, okay, well, tell me some of the racist things that you hated that he did.
Right.
They're not like challenging them like a Republican, but they're just saying, well, tell me what he did so I can understand why you find him particularly racist or this and that. And this, I'm being trapped. He's just a racist. You should know that, and I'm leaving.
Don't act like you don't know. Don't act like you don't. Don't play dumb.
They don't know why. It
Right.
is exactly what you do.
Right.
They don't know why. They know they hyped. They know they're angsty. They know they're ready to fight someone. And then when you ask them, they don't know why. How do people get so? I think you're right. People need to turn off the screens and everything because they're so invested.
Me included.
They're right. I
Probably.
do.
If there wasn't a massive communist attempt to take over the planet, I
Right.
would detach.
Right.
Because it's not serving me. Besides,
Getting you mad. Yeah.
Yeah. Besides, like ruining my emotional chemistry for that day, where I could be focused on cool other things that I'm building or something.
Right. And these zealous liberal people, they're not even like us. We at least just emotionally torment ourselves over it, but we're not going out and going to say, let's go burn whatever down that is offending us today or whatever.
Right. Hey, we're going to the weird kink shop that they invited with the kids store the other day or whatever, and we're going there to go poop on their front porch.
Yeah,
no, we don't do that. We don't do that.
Exactly.
We're not really doing that. Like, we don't do that.
And these people, no, they take action. They take time out of their day. They spend money, energy, and I just...
It's true.
How?
Well, they don't have a job, most of them, I imagine.
That's true.
Because there's the whole, they think the whole system's rigged, so they should never have to work for anything. Because
Right.
if they had built the country their way, that's the way it would have been.
They would have get free housing, free food. There's no reason.
Yeah, so the only reason they're supposed to go to work is because the white man made this system, and they're just in the system. Which I'm not disagreeing with 30% of what they're saying. Not white guy. It's just so you guys know, it's not just a bunch of white dudes that run the world. There's a group. Neither one of us are in it, by the way. White, black, or orange.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. But either way, if the world that they made, though, this is the best system so far of all of the options out there that you can actually get ahead. That you're not underfoot, that you have the freedom to actually start a business that you want to challenge,
Right.
different kinds of things. And we're getting close to not even being able to do that. Like, if you hate Russia, if you hate China, if you hate North Korea, if you hate whatever, no matter what happens, governmental control is not the answer under any circumstances. And I feel like that's lost on the leftists now. They went from liberal to leftist now, and they're like, no, we have to bring in by government force these particular things. And
just piggyback on that, one of my favorite things is, like you just said, they think the government is corrupt, blah, 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 blah. But then in the same breath, they'll say that none of the citizens should have guns and all the police should have guns.
Right.
Yet they say, no, defund the police, they're all corrupt. But you want them to have
You
all
want them
the
to be the
weapons?
one who has the guns, dude? You just said that those guys racially profiled this dude and arrested him and put him in jail for 6 years, and it wasn't even his fault, and
There
the
you
officer
go.
lied and shut off his body cam. You want those guys to be the only people with guns? It'd be safer than it is now. For how
They
long?
don't. No, their brain breaks. Whenever they're confronted with that exact thing, their brain kind of breaks.
Well, yeah, because they go, oh, so you really expect or whatever? You really expect like there to be some kind of mass extermination campaign or something like that? And I'm like, dude,
You give them the chance.
that's because you don't think people are evil. Down deep, you don't think that, but you just got done telling me that the government is evil. So you have to think
As a whole.
somebody, right, as a whole.
Yeah.
And so it's like, you really want those guys to be the ones who tell us what to do. I had a friend of mine tell me that he thinks the only solution to all the problems in the United States right now, and he was serious. He's a leftist.
Okay.
He was serious. He said concentration camps. That was his answer to me. He literally said that to me. He was like, man, I just think concentration camps is the only way to keep everybody safe. Type of thing. Like, that's what he said to me. He was like, until we can figure out, who's who. And then he mentioned like the kid going into the church shooting all the black folks, the white little kid shooting all the black folks, like the one crazy story.
Yeah.
And I'm like, bro, like, you just agreed to concentration camps because the media scares you, dude. And you think you're on the right side of history,
Wait,
bro.
what was he saying? What was he using as his merit to graduate from a concentration camp?
He didn't have one. It wasn't even that far. He was just saying the government should have
We just need
absolute
to have
control. So that nobody could do things like that or whatever. And it's just like, bro, you don't get it. The government is the biggest, allegedly the third leading cause of death in the United States is medical malpractice, which is essentially government sanctioned. You know what I mean? Like, you're not like the government has to sign off on medical stuff all the time before doctors are allowed to just go ham on you.
You mean
know?
like your insurance company is usually?
Well, the insurance company has to abide by governmental regulations. All of them do.
Yeah, that's
you
true.
know, and so there's like, you know, the government kind of like goes hand in hand with these, you know, with these big corporations and companies and 3-letter agencies or whatever. And like, look at our food. What's in our food? You know what I'm saying? The government lets that stuff go into your food and they know it's not good. Obviously, the food industry didn't stop it. So if the food industry hasn't been told by the government they have to do it, then they won't. Anyway, all in all, why do you think you're broke, everybody? Do you think but you think nobody was really this broke like 60 years ago when we were doing like decently, you know, and then now all of a sudden nobody can even afford to buy a house and you think the government's like on your team? Like, the
interest rate alone.
Yeah, like
why?
Right now,
to pay Ukraine some more.
Right, to help pay Ukraine a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah, and to pay off all the stupid COVID shutdowns that they did to everybody that ruined the economy and jacked it all up. And so, you know, here's what I look at. I look at the USA and I think to myself, if this thing's going to get up and running again, I don't know what kind of shock to the system is going to have to happen. I don't know what it's going to have to happen, but like, dude, Walmart hasn't been open for 24/7 for 3 years now.
What?
Walmart
What are you talking about?
Walmart used to be open 24/7, like everywhere, remember? For like 10 years, they were literally 24/7.
Yeah. Well, not all of them.
No, like, okay.
So yeah, there was certain. I remember now.
I mean, not just certain.
Used to do like midnight Walmart runs. Yeah. Oh
yeah. So for my entire college, they stopped.
All of them?
Yes. Yep.
So
almost all of them stopped. Now they might have brought some back to 24-hour, but I remember my entire college, my entire everything, dude, going to Walmart 3 a.m. 3 a.m., 4 a.m. doesn't matter. Go to Walmart.
In your pajamas.
Yeah, dude. Go to Walmart.
That was the best.
You know, and then they shut it down at midnight because I guess they were thinking I think they said for cleaning.
For cleaning.
Because they were supposed to disinfect with Lysol, you know, which is just all of this is more how stupid that whole thing was. If you read the damn Lysol bottle, it literally says in order for you to actually spray something away, you have to like hold it for 60 seconds or something.
60?
Yeah, you have you imagine like my hand is what I'm trying to get clean and my fingernail. You have to literally spray it from like this far away for a full like 45 to 60 seconds or something. And then after like a minute of nothing touching it, then you could consider it to be disinfected.
And that is not how we use it.
Of course not. Of course.
Like
so that was my whole point. You've got McDonald's workers essentially, which is, you know, Walmart workers, right? And they're nothing offense against that, but it's just, you know, you're paying for a certain amount of care about what they're doing and you're closing the shop so they can clean. What are they? Industrial hygienists? They now know how to like get the particles out of the air. What is it? So really, you just guys shut down half your damn hours for whatever reason. Maybe it wasn't making you enough money.
CEOs were happy for that because they don't have to pay.
Yeah, all the electricity or whatever, but you know,
electricity, workers, everything.
Yeah, well, so there was a big shift that happened during COVID, which was it switched away from the consumer being right and the customer being right and the customer being first down to like a no, you better care about everybody else. The government tells you the way that you should.
Tells you to care about. I was going to say,
right. There's a morality. There's effectively, okay, it might not be in like actuality. I can explain it in actuality if you want, but what I'm saying is there is an expectation that because the World Health Organization they do not have a biblical framework because the leader is completely other than. He does no biblical framework. So that means that the value of human dignity is a little bit less. And here's what I mean by that. Human beings are numbers to everybody else. Before Jesus came on the scene and actually God became a human being, human beings for the longest time were just treated as cattle. You really could. I have 52 slaves. That's why for the longest time, I've mentioned this a million times, they have that yoke system that was for a bunch of slaves. And then all of a sudden the Christians came around and they were using the animal yoke system because it seemed to below a human to have to tug something like that, right? So that was like a huge Christian Reformation technological development with other countries, but they were implementing it the most. Anyway, all I'm saying is there's that whole idea. Well, the World Economic Forum doesn't, or and the World Health Organization don't operate by that premise. They go, you're one of many. You're getting in the way of the ultimate vision, right? So that's kind of the thing in China, right? If a kid falls in the street, they literally will. There's a video of this. A little girl, she's probably 4 or 5, falls in the street, can't get up. I don't know why she can't get up. She's having trouble getting up. She's crying in the road, and people are stepping over her, just completely ignoring her. Then a car just smokes her after about a minute of her being in the middle of the road, kills her, right? So that's oh well, get out of the way. You know what I'm saying? Like you're stopping.
Just a number.
You're stopping that. Or the ants are trying to do something, and you stopped it. You know what I mean? Yeah. But like there's an
you're
ant.
Disposable.
There's a puppet ant master. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
and
you're
that's
disposable regardless. You're not an individual
you're
person.
Disposable.
You're not special. You're just
that's
cattle
right.
number 4 443, next cattle number 444.
Yep.
Stamp the ear and everything.
Well, so that's why I think we get these massive transitions from the World Health Organization and the World Economic Forum. Well, these
chip
massive
thing.
the chip thing too. You're just a number. But what I'm saying is the World Health Organization ideology that it gives to companies and things like that runs through that framework. People are not most important. The overall safety is more important.
Or whatever the narrative is.
Right. Your individual rights stop as soon as you're harming other people. And then they call, breathing harming other people.
I was going to say, wait a minute, harming.
Right. I can feel how much carbon you're exhaling just existing, which is what they're saying now. You're a danger. You're a threat. Right. They want organic farming to go away because it's the most intense form. Yeah. It's unbelievable the way that they've done this, and it's just you can tell now in our customer service, all things suck after COVID because they've transitioned from what was used to be kind of a. I know this sounds weird and like 3 layers deep, but a biblical framework for customers always right. Let's treat the people with dignity and let them whatever. True. Right. There's a component to that, even though it's capitalistic in nature because you're trying to ultra serve, but that's
now it's opposite. Now it's I have the thing that you want, so let me. If I feel like selling it to you, whatever. But you know what? I get out of my face.
Yeah, get out of my face, and we don't even take cash.
Yeah, I have what you want, so you need me instead of the other way around.
Yeah, you need me because times are hard. Right. Times are hard, and I know it's hard for you to get everything that you need, and I got the thing.
Yeah. You're right.
Yeah.
It's more like, you need us.
Because they killed competition and all that stuff. So that's, they slit the throat of all the competitors during COVID too, and now the only ones that are left are a little bit more assholey, and they're big kids on the block. And it's like, a little bit of monopolies you guys are turning into, to some degree. Obviously, there's going to be some competitors, but look on the internet. There's a really easy way to explain this. Remember Parler? If you don't remember Parler, that's because the Amazon servers were like, talk the way we want you to on your server, or we're going to cut off your ability to have an app.
That's right.
And so they said no, and then they cut off their ability to have an app. And so it's like, even if there was a competitor, they slit the throat of it ahead of time. The same thing they did with all the mom and pop stores that you could go get normal stuff from, or the restaurants. There was a Yelp review that said 60% of the businesses that closed their stores in COVID were going to stay closed permanently.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And they weren't allowed to open, but Home Depot, you were allowed to go there. Walmart was allowed to be open, but not the mom and Home Depot as a building store, not necessities, apparently, whatever, because whatever they called necessities.
Do you remember when they, like in Canada, when you weren't allowed to purchase seeds and stuff like that? I think they even did some in some states here. They said you couldn't purchase seeds.
They were roping off the seed section. I do remember that.
What the flip?
Why?
Not only why, how dare you? You know what I mean? You're talking about the way to make food, and you're telling me we can't have the way to make food? What are you doing, bro? Like, get your hand. You're not allowed to ever grab that. The thing about government, when we put you guys in power, is that you're never allowed to grab or even think about grabbing that lever. Bitch, why was your hand on the lever like you were fitting to do something? Not we're fitting to do something. You were trying to do something. You know what I'm saying?
Well, they did. The American people and the Canadian people just followed right in suit.
That's why self-sufficiency is so important, and why even if you hate the right, the conservatives, the idea that we need to be that way is you're dumb if you don't think that, or you're at the mercy of these people, man. And these people, you are a wheel in the cog, dude.
Oh, like
look at Andrew Tate going to jail for 6 months, basically in prison in a 6x6 cell with like one light. He was just freaking terrible. I listened to his full interview the other day, and he did nothing. He did nothing. The girls that basically come out, even the girls they said were the people that got hurt, they were like, we didn't say that. And he was just in jail for just 6 months. These people don't give a rip about you, bro. That was an extension of the government that you guys are saying to trust. Like, bro, come on. Mm-hmm. Come on. Anyway, that was a long rant to say, don't trust the freaking government, bro.
Well, and like you said, like this whole thing, I think there was a study that was done recently. Over 50% or close to 50% of college students believe that a form of socialism or communism or something like that would actually be good and work in the United States. That's scary that that they're seriously thinking. These are people serious, and a lot of them say the same thing that I've always heard. They just haven't done communism right. You have to do it the right way. So how many more million people need to die for people to say, maybe communism isn't such a great idea? But they're out here saying that the communism is a good idea.
Yeah, they're talking about something that does make sense, but they don't understand.
Democratic socialism. That's the one. That's what they call it.
Yeah. Well, the problem is this. They're thinking of the type of socialism where me, you, and 10 friends go out to and buy 150 acres.
Okay.
And it's all nice and dandy, and we all share the fruits of our labor, and there's no kind of fees or loans or anything needed. We just live off the land and love each other in utopia, right? The problem is with 385 million people in the United States, in order to generate that, you would have to have a third-party person or group or entity, aka the government, step in, take everybody's stuff, and then promise to redistribute it in a way that's equitable and appropriate.
Well, not
and
just
guess
that.
what? They won't. What do you think they're going to do? They're going to take it, and then they're going to do what every politician that you hated before Trump ever showed up does, which is they're going to use it to line them in their family's pockets.
But it's not just that. It's not just that makes it the problem. Only because, like, my family being from a communist country, this is how communism works successfully. But the problem is we are human beings. Even your 10 people on whatever 30 acres still wouldn't work. You know why? Because you would have to guarantee that all 10 of those people would do everything they were supposed to do. That on Mondays we till, on Tuesdays we fertilize, on Wednesdays we'll have a break, but then we go tend to the cattle and we do this, and then we can all come together with the fruits of our labor if we all worked as hard those 5 days a week to make this utopia happen.
But if one of you slacked,
but if one
and
of them
you weren't
says,
allowed
you know
to
what?
say I want more,
there's 9 other people, and they didn't even notice that I didn't do my tilling on last Monday. They didn't even notice. So if I just, and that's how human beings are. If you want to know
yes, that's how human beings, we will bend the lines. Toddlers do it to you. We do it to authority too. We do it to cultural expectations. I just didn't feel like doing the cows this week. It was tough.
Right. And it is tough.
But you better still give me what I want from the group.
But you better still
But
give
you
me-
didn't provide. So there's competition right there. And we're back at capitalism, everybody. Skirt.
Exactly.
How do they not think of this all the way through?
Because on paper it sounds great, but the way that I always tell people that if you think communism's going to work in America, go look at the grocery store return the cart thingy. There have been whole YouTube channels made of people waiting in the parking lot to see, like, women and men leave their carts. You know how they leave it in the middle of the aisle or behind your car, and you're like, dang it, and you got to get out and move it because they didn't put it back. Putting a grocery cart back does not take anything from you, and nor does it add. That is the crux of the argument there. With communism, you have to sometimes do things that aren't going to benefit you, but you're supposed to do it to make this communist utopia work. Putting carts back is the blueprint. Look,
the litmus test.
That's a very good, a better way to put it. The litmus test, and we see a sea of, like, carts everywhere at every store that we go to.
Right. So somebody's slacking, and that guy's going to be part of your group whether you want him there or not.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing about. That's why competition's important, and why you should be able to select who you want to be doing business with or who you want to be working with, and like.
Or not just that, punishment for not producing. If you don't produce enough, you're not going to get into a nice, beautiful house. You're going to have to live in, like, a slum apartment or possibly in a tent if you are not working your butt off to make what Joe is making, and he's in his nice, beautiful house because he worked his butt off. You don't want to? I'm sorry. Maybe you're going to be into an apartment instead of, like, what, you know what I mean? And then sometimes, yes, it's not fair that people are born into wealth, but that goes away. You cannot have all these lazy children of millionaires or people who are well off and for them to maintain that. Because a lazy, spoiled rich kid, we've seen it. They waste away the millions that their family made. They're bankrupt. They lose the company. And then the guy ends up dying in a gutter high. Look at Hunter Biden. If he didn't have the whole DOJ and federal government,
he would have been OD'd in a ditch. He would have been OD'd in a ditch 30 years ago, man.
I bet the Secret Service has to carry Narcan on them just for him. I bet you.
I bet you they do. I guarantee they do.
Yeah.
They'd be dumb if they didn't.
That's true.
They would be dumb if they didn't.
They're like, we don't want this guy dying on our. Okay.
Yeah. So there you go. That's dumb.
But think about that.
Well, yeah. I mean, so anyway, speaking of the government and not being efficient and you not trusting it to hand out, like, objectively all of the production of all the energy you just put into something. Imagine that. Imagine you literally worked your ass off and then got all the money and then handed all of it to somebody else. And we're just like, all right, now I know I'm going to be good. Bro, oh my God, that's so stressful for me to think about. You know what I mean? Like imagine, like you just made, 10 grand in the last couple, in the last month or last week or whatever, you make 10 grand in, right? And you're just like, thank God. And then you give it to him and then you're like, the bread will be here tomorrow. We should be good.
Hopefully.
Oh my God, how stupid. That sounds so dumb, bro.
Don't think about it. People that go to jail got to do that. They got to trust, like, maybe family members are like, I don't know if I trust you, but yeah,
Yeah, you mean to fill up their like card for jail, for jail food
I'm
and
not
stuff?
really sure how it works, but I'm assuming that you're not going to be able to just, let me log into my, SunTrust account or whatever. You know
I
what
don't really
mean?
know how it works, but I know that you have like a way that you can spend money in jail.
There is, but still your money outside. What if you have like 20 grand in your bank account or so? That's still your 20 grand, but you're not going to be able to manage that.
Right, you can't.
Yeah.
That's just sit in the bank or something.
Yeah, and you gotta trust
it's weird,
someone.
man. And jail is weird, dude. Like they take your freedom away and they put you in like a locked room.
Yeah, I mean, like
some people need that, but like there's a lot of crimes out there that I feel like that doesn't help. You know what I mean?
You're right. You're right.
In fact, probably most. There's a lot of interesting videos on YouTube about how other countries do their prison reform that's very successful compared to how we do it, where they literally like have to rehabilitate. It's like a year of rehabilitation where they have to go do like outdoor activities for a whole day and they live alone with a dog and they get to see their family on the weekends.
Well, I think our society wouldn't be able to handle that because you know what that would take?
Personal responsibility.
Ding, ding, ding.
Personal accountability.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah.
Because I saw what
you're
talking
the problem.
About.
Why don't you sit around for a little while and think about how you're the problem and adjust some things in your life to overcome you as the problem.
Yep.
It's not me. I'm not the problem.
It's the system.
Who the hell you think you is? Or whatever.
No, it's true.
You're a white male. That's the system. Everybody's like all mad.
Right. Even
Speaking
though it's
of
like
which,
you were literally stealing that lady's car and you hit her over the head with a stick. Okay?
Yeah, that's not your father's fault. That's not your mom's fault. You knew society's rules. You're going to jail, bro.
Right. Exactly. But
speaking of which,
anyway, so
hang on, let me show you. This is starting to happen because when you don't police, when the communities police themselves. Last week, we had one where we had that guy who was caught by the hood dudes for coming to creep on that little 13-year-old girl. That was our video last week of like justice, right? Mm-hmm. Well, so this is one from this last week that I posted. It says when you try to steal $2,200 worth of power tools at Home Depot in broad daylight, but they get tackled and hog-tied by a good Samaritan. Pretty sure that's Oliver Anthony in the
The problem is,
look, black dudes and white dudes, all of them together.
Is that a lady?
And then the officer shows up, and the DA said he doesn't need to go to jail and let him off the next day. I'm just kidding.
No,
I'm just kidding, but probably.
No, you're right. You're right. And that's just it. It's funny that you said that because I was just about to make the comment that I bet you that those people who subdued that person might face charges.
Yeah, I would imagine in like a liberal city that would definitely happen.
Yeah. Well, look what happened with the one that we showed, I think, last week with the 7-Eleven guys whooping that guy for trying to take a whole trash can full of stuff out.
Oh, yeah.
And
people are fighting back.
They were investigating the guys instead of the darn criminal.
Insane.
Right?
Insane. He was stealing thousands of dollars of tobacco products from them, and they're just supposed to take it.
Big brute. It was one of those big brute trash cans.
Yeah.
It wasn't just a couple of handfuls. It was a whole trash can. I mean, that's not wrong for those poor business owners to say, I want to protect that. Because you think the insurance company isn't going to keep increasing premiums on people the more claims they make? That's what people say. They have insurance.
Well, that still takes 6 months of like activation. You have to go through so many like claims processes, and it's time and money.
No. They'll
probably only give you some of it back. But here's the other thing. I think we're going to get to a stage where it's like Ninja Turtles are necessary. Like street vigilantes where it's just like, hey, you guys want to wear a mask and not get in trouble by the police, and I know they're not going to pursue you. I got my own version of good guys that wear masks that all wear all black, and they look just like you guys, and they stop criminals. You know what I mean? Like
there is a guy.
It's a matter of time.
There's a guy in California, but He's already been arrested a couple times.
Oh, because they put the afterburners on to try and find him, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, we pinged everybody's cell phone in this one area, and then we found out it was him, unlike the
Yes.
other people who's raping women, probably.
Yep.
They're like, we won't even look for that guy.
Mm-hmm.
What was his name?
I don't know. I don't remember his name. He was actually a business owner, tired of getting vandalized and stolen from and everything like that.
So he's wearing a
business
mask and everything,
He was
basically?
wearing like a black ski mask and everything. I forgot what he called himself or something. It was pretty. It was. I get it. He was just tired of it.
Yeah,
I
well,
get
it's
it.
fair.
I get it. It's kind of like you said, like, like you said, they're paying. Think about it. Business owners, citizens, and everything are paying the government through their taxes, because I allow you to do that as a citizen or a business owner, because with the intention of you're using that tax money to what? Protect and serve.
Right.
They're not doing either.
Right. Especially not in liberal cities.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, the second time that your store got robbed, you would be like, all right, I get a gun now, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm allowed to shoot if they try to take my stuff. Like, you're robbing my family's future, bro. That's an extension of me as a person. Like, I'm working hard for this. You know what I mean? And that's
just like
that's the thing, man. You know, the government, if you want a perfect example of how the government's not taking care of you, look at Maui. Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it. So let's give basic what's going on.
Take it away.
We have got wildfires in Maui. You have probably already heard about it. It's pretty crazy. We are up to, death toll is what, 103 right now? Or is it about 100? It's the worst wildfire situation that the U.S. has seen in recent history in 100 years. And the federal government cannot be bothered. When they asked Joe Biden, I have an article right here, that Joe Biden, when asked about Maui, he had no comment.
Mr. President, any comments on the rising death toll in Maui?
Will you come talk about the Hawaii response, Mr. President?
He was relaxing on a beach in Florida, I believe. And at the time, the death toll was 93. And when the media asked him, it wasn't even a conservative news group. Do you know who asked him? It was Bloomberg. Bloomberg is a leftist publication. And Bloomberg reporter asked, what do you have to say about the Maui fires? And he said, no comment.
Ugh.
And that's about it. That's all that's been said by the federal government. That's all that's been done. There's been no aid.
Yeah, so 2,100 acres.
Oh, excuse me. Let me make a
2,100
correction.
acres burned.
He was on Rehoboth Beach in Delaware. So just wanted to make
He
that.
was on the beach.
Okay, but
on the beach.
it wasn't in Florida. Yeah, it was in Delaware. Just wanted to make that clarification.
Yeah, just 'cause we don't want to get fact check on that.
Exactly.
He wasn't laying on his left side, Tina. He was laying on his right side.
So this is false.
Conspiracy.
Right.
I knew it. You just never quite get it together,
That's
do
what
you?
they would do.
Do you? You're telling me. You're telling me.
That's true.
Oh,
You get
90
fact check.
days in Instagram jail.
You get fact check all
It's
the
a
time.
hard life out here. I'm trying to tell everybody the truth, and if I fart in the wrong direction, they throw me in the clink for 10 years. I've been through hell and back to try and fight for freedom for the uninformed, but damn it, the cost is heavy to bear. Every time my business starts to take off, they sweep the legs out from underneath of a good old boy. I end up just laying on the ground, dust in the mouth, coughing for mama. I miss when I was just a baby and they could hold me tight, tell me everything's okay. But I know too much now. The government gave us both fluoride. Damn it. There you go. Use that for something, Jeff.
So I have this New York Post article too about the Maui fires, and they have this to say. Joe Biden is indifferent to the Maui fires because he'll win Hawaii anyway. And you know what's sad is that I think they're right. That's why he's not putting in. Why put any effort into it? You don't vote for me anyway.
Okay, so let's go further here. Let's take this a step further. If you were the president of the United States,
Mm-hmm.
and you were just trying to do the job decently, and somebody asked you about 90 people dying in the United States of a fire,
all right,
your answer, under no circumstances of sane position of thought, no logical conclusion that you would come to as somebody who won the presidency of the United States and tried to do that and won, whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's no way the conclusion that you would come to would say no comment.
That's true.
That's absolutely not what anybody would ever do under those circumstances. So why the hell did he do that? You know what I mean? So that doesn't make sense. You're either old and senile and don't care, right? Which is obviously option. You're not worried about you're not worried about your second election having to have you favorable in the eyes of the people.
He's not, which tells us something.
He didn't campaign the first time.
I know.
Maybe he can anti-campaign this time. Maybe he can literally tell everybody, just so you know, you're all going to be partaking of my saliva. I've spit into every tube in America, and they've sent it out to every water treatment facility, and hope you don't like it. And everybody'd be like, oh, Joe, he's so old.
So silly.
Did Hunter spit in there too? Because, I like crack.
So funny.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
No, it is. I think that's a good point.
No, you would never come to the conclusion. They must not be worried about it.
No, not even like, oh man, they're in our prayers. We're working on
you pulled that right out of your ass, and it was better than what he said. Right? What? And he's a the most important politician. It's like he's not even trying. The only people who don't try are either senile or don't care about what people think about them.
I think he just doesn't care. And why would he?
Or both.
Yeah, or both. I don't think he's he is senile. I just don't think I think he truly is. Like now, like I said, that flash in his eye to Peter Ducey, that I was like, oh, that guy's evil.
Yeah.
That guy's evil.
So 2,100 acres of Maui burned. It looks like there's the locals are saying there's thousands of people that have died. The official count is over 100. I don't know what's right yet. They've also said a couple different things that were a little bit concerning. They've said that there was no warning system whatsoever. They said that it was completely different than a normal hurricane situation. These are the locals. This is all allegedly. They've also said that they cut off the water supply to them when they were trying to spray the fires out. Somehow the Maui island, I guess whatever little chunk, there's 2,100 acres were getting burned. So in that entire area, apparently the water was off. I've heard that from 3 different locals that were there, that the water was off.
I didn't hear about that.
Apparently the businesses and the corporations or whoever are already calling in and asking them, hey, can we buy your land? That's like a thing. And then I did hear the mayor or the governor or whoever's there, the governor say that we want to have, we want the state to kind of possess some of this land or whatever, which is just another crazy thing because you're taking it from people. But I know there's also some new rules about if there's like a devastating event that occurs or a natural disaster that the government can do that and take land or whatever. So I've heard about that recently. Maybe that's part of this. I don't know. And then the last thing that I heard about it was that the elites like Oprah and all them had been trying to like buy stuff up for a long time and been getting denied because they wouldn't let it go or something like that. So there's like all these different little angles that maybe that's true. There's people talking about direct energy weapons.
I heard that.
DEWs or whatever. I don't know what I think about that.
But
I'll have to see it. I'm open to. Now, here's the truth. They exist. They do exist.
Right. Maui was supposed to be the very first. We've talked about this before. The 15-minute city. Maui, apparently, I'm just learning this now, so I don't know enough details about it, but apparently Maui they were really wanting that to be the test bed. They really wanted that to be the first 15-minute city, especially on an island, to show how well they would work. And it was supposed to be Maui, but like you said, the citizens were living there. A lot of them would not give up their land. They would not give up their land to the government. They would not give up their land to these big investors and builders. Now, I got my conspiracy brain is going.
Go ahead. I'm with you.
So I think what's going to happen is they're going to start putting in their insurance claims. And the insurance companies are probably going to get a little ring from those investors that said, listen, I've been wanting to build a hotel on that guy's surf shop.
Make it tough.
Why don't you go ahead and he doesn't need that policy. I'm sure you could find something where he violated the policy where he can't be covered.
Right.
I really
How many residents did you say were living in your thing? Oh, because, they're all living, like there's like 20 people that live in one house out there.
Yeah.
There's like maybe not 20, but it's like 10 people per house. It's like a way higher per house population.
Okay.
Because they have to pull all their money because it's so expensive to live there, basically.
Okay.
Or whatever. So a lot of families will live together for a long time. Maybe I'm just giving an example of where they'd be like, well, there's so much traffic that was, an unusual amount of risk posed to the insurance company that wasn't told beforehand. Okay, so but let me show you this though, because there was something.
Wait, there was one more thing that
ahead.
we were talking about on the phone, the warning system. So
yes.
I did a little bit more reading before I got here today. We were talking about this on the phone. Remember, like, hey, why they're on an island? Their warning system is actually should be better than anyone else in the United States because of their island thing. Well, I did do some reading. Apparently, yes, the Hawaiian Islands have some of the best systems in the world. But what's even better? Do you remember, Ross, the accidental nuclear attack text? Do you remember that?
What was that?
2 years ago. 2 years ago, everyone there's going to be a nuclear attack in 15 minutes and everyone's going to die on the, I think it was Honolulu. I don't remember. This happened like 2 years ago. And then it was false alarm. It was just testing the system, but everybody for 10 minutes thought they were going to die from a nuclear attack.
Interesting.
Yes, this happened a couple years ago. Like Jim Carrey was even there apparently vacationing and went out to the beach and was thinking about his life. Like he thought he was going to die because they accidentally sent out a text message. Ross, why couldn't
Why couldn't they send out a text message over the hours that it was burning?
Thank you. Why? See, something is not smelling right. No warning system, no text message.
Right.
They said the warning system was broken, but the governor was actually asked about this. And they said, oh, well, it's all burned down now, so we don't know what happened. That's basically what they're saying.
And what's the guy? The police chief fella. That's the same guy from the Las Vegas massacre shooting.
Okay.
The same exact like police captain who was over that precinct or whatever is the same person who was over this precinct. He moved to Maui.
Really?
Yes. That is
I did
weird.
not know that.
Yes, that's a whole nother level. It's the same.
That
it's
is
like the
another
same.
level.
The same. It's like he's like a lead sheriff or something, and he's like leading up the investigation, and he just gave a speech, and he was like, "Yeah, Maui police chief John Pelletier came to Hawaii after serving for 22 years in Las Vegas. Pelletier was the incident commander during the 2017 mass shooting that left 58 dead." Right? Anyway,
The hell?
this guy.
Is he, there's something wrong with him?
No, he's trying to say that. I mean, maybe, but he's trying
I'm
to
just
say.
saying. I was like, what? What are you trying to say?
He's trying to say basically that they have to test the dust on the ground to figure out who a person is because they're stepping on bodies and it's powder.
They're asking people for DNA to identify their loved ones. Honestly, I get it. I'm totally up for whatever, however it started. I don't think that's the biggest problem. See, I think people are getting distracted by that because the biggest problem.
Yeah, look, the biggest problem
alarm?
is
Text messages.
And it seems like they're saying it came from electrical problems.
Okay.
The same way that the other big fires in Washington or somewhere else like that have been happening.
Yeah.
They're all end up being caused by like electrical issues, by like the electric company is like making mistakes or something like that. And then I'm guessing there's a 30-year period where they pay back the government who gives 1% of that to the people who were harmed by it. Like
I don't know.
It's a big power grab, dude. And I think the people are starting to see it more and more, and the people are starting to recognize more and more. Like the people aren't going to sell. The people don't believe this shit anymore, and they know the system's rigged, which is why Oliver Anthony's music is going so bad right now. It's like everybody's watching this dude who, and if everybody doesn't know what I'm talking about, it's the blues singer that everybody's like, oh, he's doing like he sung the Song of America. So why don't we just play a piece of that real quick or whatever? You guys got to see this.
Sure.
You've probably seen this 100 times already, but that everybody in America knows it now. We know that Maui didn't have to have the situation occur. We know that the government knew about Pearl Harbor before it happened, days before it happened, allegedly. Right? We have RFK talking about the CIA killing his uncle and his father. You know, so everybody's on the same train with this stuff now. We know it.
I've been selling my soul, working all day, overtime hours for bullshit pay, so I can sit out here and waste my life away, drag back home and drown my troubles away. It's a damn shame what the world's gotten to for people like me, people like you. Wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is. Oh, it is living in the new world with an whole soul. These rich men north of Richmond, Lord knows they all just wanna have total control. Wanna know what you think, wanna know what you do, and they don't think you know, but I know that you do. tax to no end, 'cause the rich men know the rich men. I wish politicians would look out for miners, and not just miners on an island somewhere. Lord,
Man,
we
that song's
got
so good
folks in the
still.
streets ain't got nothing to eat, and the old beast milking welfare. Well, God, if you're 5'3" and you're 300 pounds, taxes ought not to pay for your bags of fudge rounds. Young men are putting themselves 6 feet in the ground, 'cause all this damn country does is keep on kicking them down. Lord, it's a damn shame what the world's gotten to for people like me, people like you. Wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is. Oh, it is living in the new world with an whole soul. These rich men know the rich men, Lord knows they all just wanna have total control. Wanna know what you think, wanna know what you do, and they don't think you know, but I know that you do, 'cause your dollar ain't shit, and it's taxed to no end, 'cause the rich men know the rich men.
I only wanted to watch a few seconds, but it's just captivating.
Selling
man.
my soul,
Goosebumps.
working all day, overtime hours for bullshit pay.
We were on the ground.
This young man
This
happened
young
to be
man happened to
close
be coming down. He blew up. He's got hundreds and hundreds of thousands of followers now. Ever since this come out, he's like hit him by a storm. Basically, it's been
Yes.
exploding. And he just had a show in Currituck, North
farmer's
Carolina,
market.
at a farmer's market.
Kind of middle of nowhere.
And we had eyes on the ground out there. Where is he from?
He's now living in Farmville, Virginia. I don't know where he's from originally.
Where's that at?
Farmville is like 150 miles away from here. It's like close to the mountains of Virginia, but that's where he used to live in a normal neighborhood. I'm not sure. He sold his house and went and bought 90 acres.
Yeah, I saw
and just
that.
went like he has an interesting backstory, like struggles with drink and drugs. Used to be like agnostic or atheist. Talked about how he'd make fun of God and call him like Sky Daddy and da da da. Like, you know what people say, and that he found God, and I don't know, he just something clicked in his head, and he's like, this is not the way to live, and he sold everything and bought 90 acres, and that's where he goes and writes his music, and that's all he's been doing.
Show me this video of the local.
It's on your text message.
Man, that's cool.
I mean,
It was hot as shit, wasn't it?
So hot, so darn hot. But let me tell you,
People
like
didn't care.
he did a whole thing. He's got other songs. Let me tell you, he's gotten so viral. When he was singing his other less known songs, he has one called like Doggone It, I Gotta Get Sober, Cocaine and Something. Like, he's got some pretty, and the lyrics are fantastic.
Yeah, they're
listened to
good.
it. People were singing the lyrics
Right.
to the other songs.
That aren't even on like a thing. They're only on like TikTok, right? Like the songs.
He's got some YouTube. He did some work with a West Virginia radio station, so he has a little bit of music there. It's a little bit here and there, but not too much. But just kind of these little songs where he's just it's even the 9:16 one on YouTube, so it's really annoying to watch on your phone type of thing. Like,
Right.
just uploading his stuff. People were singing the lyrics to those songs.
Wow, I bet you he's thinking this is unbelievable right now.
It is unbelievable. It was packed. And when I tell you, like, now where it is in a country area. There is fields that way and fields that way, and then the farmer's market, maybe houses if you keep going. It's a big, long farmer's highway. And there were a lot of rednecks there, a lot of white people, rednecks, cowboy hats and everything, but there were so many other different people there. Regular, like 9-to-5 working mom and dads that live in the suburbs with a Labrador and two and a half kids. Those kind of people were there. There was rockers there with Doc Martens and bull rings and gauges and stuff like that. There were black people there, same thing, just looked like normal people that you wouldn't picture in this area. That all went. It was like electrifying. And I think he did that song twice. He also quoted Psalms 37 to give a little bit more context through. I don't remember the verses. I'll have to go reference my videos again. But to give a little bit more reference. And like everybody just singing that song from the top of their lungs. Like that just happened to be the one clip that I got. It wasn't that loud because it was so hot. But when he sang, everyone just forgot about being hot and just were singing, belting that from the top of their lungs.
Right.
And like when the part came when it says young men are putting themselves 6 feet in the ground because all this damn country does is keep on kicking them down.
Right.
Like a roar.
Wow.
The whole place roared. I mean, they were apparently like they were not expecting that much. This is a little farmer's market. They got the city kicked in and helped bring porta potties. They brought the sheriffs to help direct traffic and help with, they brought a fire truck there just in case anyone, because it was hot, you know, but people were there. And this was last minute. He kind of planned that like in a day, and all those people came. There were professional news crews there. I saw, like I said, I saw people from like the Crowder people. There were, I think, Daily Wire people there. There were different, conservative networks there too, and it was electrifying. It was, and it was so hot.
Right, but it didn't matter.
It didn't matter.
It didn't freaking matter.
I mean, everybody, like I said, the people right in front of me were these rockers with this big old bull ring and the...
Yeah, well, everybody knows, man. Like, that's what I'm saying. Everybody knows now. Everybody knows we're screwed. We're not on the team that, like, they're taking all of our stuff and doing whatever they want with it. They told you it was 100% effective, but you needed 5. Like, anybody can see between the lines.
6 boosters a year. Did you hear the CDC recently coming out saying 6 boosters a year?
I mean, I believe it. I believe that we're going to say 12 pretty soon. Like, you need one every month just to make sure you're good to go. And we'll throw anything else in there we need you to have allergies to. Speaking of which...
But I'm really hoping he doesn't, like, the young man doesn't get, like, corrupted or anything like that. You know, the music... Look, country music has gone woke. You know?
Yeah, well...
The CMT channel took down Jason Aldean's Small Town when, if you read the lyrics, they're not bad at all. Especially compared to, like, Cardi B's WAP or any of these other songs talking about killing each other in the streets over gang and drug wars.
So this is the Twitter link I've got in the Discord. So this is a World Economic Forum bioethicist who wants to genetically modify humans so they become allergic to meat. He's a bioethicist.
A bioethicist, okay.
Yeah, and he wants to genetically modify humans so they become allergic to meat. Listen to the way he explains this, okay?
Is this for real?
People eat too much meat, right? And if they were to cut down on their consumption on meat, then they would, it would actually really help the planet. But people are not willing to give up meat. Yeah, some people will be willing to, but other people, they may be willing to, but they have a weakness of will. They say, wow, this steak is just too juicy. I can't do it. I'm one of those, by the way. So, so here's the thought, right? So it turns out that we know a lot about, we have these intolerance to, for example, I have milk intolerance. And some people are intolerant to crayfish. So possibly we can use human engineering to make it the case that we're intolerant to certain kinds of meat, to certain kinds of bovine proteins. And there's actually analogs of this in life. There's this thing called the Lone Star tick, where if it bites you, you'll become allergic to meat. I can sort of describe the mechanism. So that's something that we can do through human engineering. We can kind of possibly address really big world problems through human engineering.
Is that real?
That's real.
I guess it is real. Wow.
That's real. Real.
What the actual? And that's August 11th. Golly. I put something in the Discord for you to bring up on the screen since he wants everyone to be a vegan. Let's take a quick look at that real quick. This came out last month. This came out last month.
Okay, yeah, this is...
You remember that, right?
Yeah. Okay, let me pull this up. Vegan. You want to talk about it? You want me to talk
No,
about it?
yeah, go ahead and read the thing.
Vegan raw food diet influencer Xana Dart dies of suspected starvation. What?
So
She's a vegan influencer. She's allegedly died of starvation after subsisting exclusively on a diet of exotic fruit in Malaysia, according to her friends and family. She was 39, the Russian national who frequently promoted raw foods on social media, where she was known to her millions of viewers on TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram, reportedly died on July 21st after finally seeking medical treatment during a tour in Southeast Asia. A few months ago in Sri Lanka, she already looked exhausted with swollen legs, oozing lymph. What the hell is that?
lymph nodes.
Those ooze?
I guess. Oh, well, you can get blocked up lymph nodes, but I don't know. But
They
look,
sent her home to seek treatment. However, she ran away again. When I saw her in Phuket, that's that place. When I saw her in Phuket, is it Phuket?
I thought it was Puckett.
When I saw her in Phuket, I was horrified. Her friend had I lived one floor above her, and she lifeless body. I lived one floor above her, and every day I feared finding her lifeless body in the morning. I convinced her to seek treatment, but she didn't make it.
So we don't have to read the whole thing, but now think about what that guy just said. We want to genetically engineer you, so not only will we make you not, you can't eat meat, and then we can all fucking die like her. I mean, but that's what they want.
You know what they say?
And look, I tried
hungry people, man, can't revolt. That's the phrase Yoon May Park said back in the day about North Korea, is that he literally keeps them hungry because hungry people don't revolt.
That is so true.
You don't have energy for it.
That's so scary to think about.
You don't have gasoline for it.
No, that's true.
You don't have gasoline to revolt. You don't have energy physically. Like all of your fuel, you get nothing.
No, you're right.
Yeah, it's funny. And not funny. It's terrible.
No. I know what you're saying. Yeah,
but it's
yeah.
like, all the fuel sources for your vehicle, for your independent control, for your literal physical health, like we're taking all of it. But the elites have known about how to eat the right kind of foods for a long time. My wife is watching Real Housewives of Orange County, or whatever, and she's watching it from like the year 1999 or 2003, whenever this stuff came out.
Yeah.
And it's just like, even then, these millionaire women are like, yeah, we don't need any foods that aren't healthy. We don't need any of this. We don't need any of that.
Yeah.
Like all organic health foods. Like they've known this stuff for a long time, and but yet they're still pumping your kids full of goldfish, dude, at the stores and trying to act like it's good. And the government's allowing that kind of stuff to be broadcast. So it's like, these people don't care about you, and everybody knows it, man. They're trying to control everything. They want you gone. And they're so bold as to say it, too. They're so bold as to say that we need 500 million people alive on the planet. You're not allowed to say that and be incredibly wealthy and have your hand on the control valve about how much food we get.
Right.
But these people are doing it, so it's just...
That is so scary.
The rich, man.
No, the rich, man. Another thing is, too, everyone, I saw the comment sections under, like, videos and stuff like that. People were, like, saying, why didn't you just name it North of Richmond? It's such a long title. North of Richmond is Washington, D.C., people. The rich men living north of Richmond. It's called poetry. You know what it is? I think people don't know what lyrics are anymore.
Right, yeah, like good songwriting.
Right. What do we have the last? Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang. My girl like cocaine. Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang.
Right.
That's it.
This wet ass.
Right.
Yeah.
Either talking about vaginas or killing each other.
But there's a play on words there. The rich man. Up in Richmond.
And then another one, like, I wish politicians would care about minors instead of minors on an island somewhere. Minors. Remember, they shut down all the miners. They're all jobless because of fracking and da.
See, I didn't think of minors that way. I was thinking I wish they cared about kids instead of just kids on an island.
Minors, and that's what he's saying. Like, oh, you're giving attention to minors, but just the miners on the island instead of the miners in the mountains.
Right, or the kids that are mining all of our cobalt.
Yeah.
In Ethiopia or wherever the flip it's at.
Africa. Yes, yeah. You're right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, but that's the thing. We don't know. Everyone's so dumb now. Like you said, if the media didn't push it, well, we don't want to get into all that poetry and lyricism. Tupac's not alive anymore. We don't need all that poetry.
Well, I was talking about this thing the other day, too, that we saw. Here, I'll pull it up. I want you to see this, and then I suppose we can be relatively close to being done.
Yeah. I had to throw in that vegan girl dying because I had seen that.
Yeah, well, I mean, she didn't get medical treatment. Maybe that was part of it, but either way,
The
they
thing
want
is, Yeah, she was starving. She was starving. Her body was starving.
Yeah, she was dying.
Because she wanted, what did she do? She listened to the WEF and the World Health Organization and said, no, I want to be a vegan, but not only I'm going to be the best vegan in the world. And she died because of it. I bet like in her belief in her head drove her. That's what I think.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if she, I don't know, did she talk about that on her platform a lot?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if she talked about it from a political sense or anything. I didn't follow her or anything like that.
Yep. Well, guys, it's another freaking crazy week out there, but we're not crazy. And that's the point of this show, is to talk about the normal shit that makes you go, huh. Yeah, I guess I haven't thought about it like that. That does make sense that they're being weird and we're not. And we're not.